One of the Maya calendars found in an archaeological excavation ended 11 years ago, on December 21, 2012. As a result of long research and studies, almost all archaeologists and scientists came to the same conclusion and announced that the calendar ended on December 21, 2012, which is considered as the Day of Judgment in the Mayan belief. After this announcement, which was made months before the specified date, the view that the apocalypse will break on December 21, 2012 has prevailed almost all over the world, and even according to a rumor, it was stated that those in the village of Sirens would be saved in a possible apocalypse scenario. Although the reason for the apocalypse was NASA's warnings that there was no such thing, do not panic, rumors were spreading rapidly that there was a large meteorite that would hit the Earth. In the light of all these developments, step by step, the calendars showed 21 December 2012. But as rumored, no meteorite hit the Earth, nor was there any other natural disaster or major catastrophe. The day after that date, everyone was saying the same thing: the Mayans were wrong. But according to a group of archaeologists and linguists, the Mayans were not wrong. The world's best linguists and archaeologists have been working on something for years, and that something was the Sumerian tablets, which are very, very important for human history. The Sumerian tablets, totaling over 22,000 and 6,000 years old, were first discovered in Iraq in 1849 by the British archaeologist Austen Henry Layard. Following the discovery, hundreds of archaeologists and linguists started an intensive study on the tablets with the support of major states. In 1976, Zechariah Sitchin published the first Sumerian tablets translations, which he had spent 30 years preparing, in a book. Later, other linguists also published their translations. According to the deciphered and translated Sumerian tablets, human beings were created through genetic engineering by the civilized people who came to Earth from the planet Nibiru, a planet outside the solar system, from their own descendants and from the crossbreeding of apes. Some argued that this should not be questioned, others argued that this information was correct and that the theory of evolution was compatible with what was described in these tablets. But there was one thing they agreed on. The oldest, the Sumerian tablets, written 3,000 years before even the Torah, the holy book. It was very interesting that the stories in the books were told in detail. You might think, what does all this have to do with December 21 and the Mayans? Actually, it has a lot to do with it, because we couldn't tell you about the calendar ending on December 21 without this information. Archaeological evidence from the Mayans clearly shows that the Mayans had a very advanced knowledge of astronomy and space sciences at that time. So much so that they observed all the planets in our solar system at that time, made a map of the solar system and, interestingly, were even able to calculate the size of the planets. They even went further, and they were able to calculate the sizes of the planets that are not in our solar system. According to the solar system notes of the Mayans, a planet from outside the system disrupted the orbits of some planets as it passed through the solar system and destroyed the atmosphere of Mars, our close neighbor. This is clearly mentioned in the Sumerian tablets written 6,000 years ago. According to the data of the unmanned vehicle sent to Mars by NASA in recent years, the atmosphere on Mars in ancient times and suddenly disappeared for an undetermined reason. The Sumerians called this planet from outside our solar system Nibiru. The Mayans, who were very good at astronomy, also observed this planet and took notes. The information provided by the two civilizations, which lived in very distant regions and were almost 3,000 years apart, is almost identical. The Mayans, with their superior astronomical knowledge, calculated that a year is 365 days, and a year is 12 months. It is seen that they prepared their calendar according to this time cycle. The calendar they prepared was accurate for thousands of years without any deviation and accurately conveyed the day, month, and year information until December 21, 2012. Astronomers, archaeologists, and linguists have spent years investigating why the calendar ended on December 21. For years they interpreted this as a doomsday scenario, but this was only realized a few years ago. The planet Nibiru, which entered our solar system in a regular cycle thousands of years ago, had abandoned our system by making changes. The regular cycle of the planet was exactly 3,600 years. Having reached this conclusion and prepared a calendar, the Mayans calculated forward from the date they lived and determined the day the planet would re-enter the solar system as December 21, 2012, and abruptly ended the calendar on that date. For them, this was not an apocalypse but the beginning of a new life cycle for humanity. Because the last time planet Nibiru had entered the solar system, it had communicated with the planets and created the human race, which it used to mine the gold on Earth, which was important for the atmosphere of planet Nibiru. Gold has been very valuable to the human race ever since. Have you ever wondered why there is only gold when there are metals on Earth? This information is explained in detail in the Sumerian tablets of creation. The interesting thing is that NASA discovered an object in the outer circle of the solar system at the end of 2 by 12 years, and by calculating the orbital deviations of the nearby planets, it announced that the object in question was a new planet and named it Planet X. This Planet X is the planet Nibiru mentioned in the Sumerian and Mayan tablets, and it entered our solar system exactly on December 21, 2012. So the Mayans were not mistaken. It was not an apocalypse or an asteroid they were expecting, but the planet Nibiru. When Nibiru entered the solar system, the cycle would be reset and the solar system would soon undergo a major change. America gathered all the information available and made an assessment. After the evaluation, the first thing it did was to take control of the Sumerian ziggurat in the city of Nazareth, where it had set up its headquarters during the invasion of Iraq, and started to work with very powerful and specialized X-ray devices. Nazareth is the ancient city of Ur, where the prophet Abraham lived and where all monotheistic religions began. Special troops have been deployed to the area and no one has been given any comprehensive information about the investigations. Moreover, in the middle of the year 2012, an ancient city was discovered near Damascus, Syria. The so-called Syrian Stonehenge dates back 10,000 years. It is about the same age as the Sumerian city of Ur. The region was probably settled in the same years. After the war in Syria, Russian troops arrived in the region and Russia took control of the city and the region. Still entering the region and the population in the area has been completely evacuated. This city in Syria is close to the village of Baka in Damascus. And finally, we come to Göbekli, a very old temple built in the same layout, which has been explored since the year 1955, but suddenly came to attention a few years ago. Göbekli city, which is older than the temple in the other two cities but has the same features in terms of structure, has taken the title of the oldest temple found by humanity. Now, when we mark the three similar cities in the region on the map, we see this it turns out to be a triangle. And this triangle had been here for centuries and we hadn't noticed it. Coincidentally, all of them were discovered after the planet X was observed. In other words, we are confronted with Mesopotamia, the region where the first people started to live and called the cradle of civilization, which is found in both Sumerian and Mayan tablets and described in all religions. Moreover, Mesopotamia, which is within this triangle, is reported in the tablets of both civilizations as the region where the Annunaki race living on Nibiru contacted the Earth and will contact it when it comes back again.